Today I'm just going to be going over a little tutorial on how to use the radio on the FREE-WILi. So first of all, what is my setup looking like? I don't have a camera live feed for you, but here's a picture of my setup. Very simple, it's just the FREE-WILi. I've got both of my radio antennas connected both at 433 megahertz, and we're just going to do a little simple example where I send some data back and forth and we can receive it, observe that data, and then talk about subfiles for a second. So yeah, here I've got the FREE-WILi GUI up, which is just a nice convenient way of connecting to the main and display consoles to control the FREE-WILi. You can also do this in a normal serial terminal, your TeraTerm or your PuTTY. I like the extra features in this, so this is what I'll be using. You can see I've got my FREE-WILi connected on COM26 is my main processor. The main processor is what we're going to use to interact with the radios. So let's connect to that there. If it doesn't immediately populate the screen, you can just hit enter and it'll go ahead and populate. Yeah, this is what the main menu looks like. What we mainly are going to care about when we're working with the radios, the biggest thing is how are those radios configured. Let's take a look. I hit Z for settings there, and we can see we've got different settings for radio 1 and radio 2. Since I want to send data from one to the other, I want their configurations to match. We can take a quick look at what those configuration options are. You've got your frequency. You can see that's the 433 megahertz, like the antennas I've got connected, modulation, deviation, and a million other things that I'm not going to get into too much. If you're interested in all the finer details of this, the radios on the FREE-WILi are CC1101 radios, and you'd be looking up documentation for those and radios in general to learn more about how to configure this for your needs. But for now, I've just got a simple setup that is mirrored on both radios. We can take a look at radio 2 as well if you're curious. We're back out of there. So now to send data from one radio to the other, we've got a couple options. If we're using the GUI, I've got this radio tab here that I can use to make my life a little bit easier. If you're not using the GUI, you can still go to radio functions and you'll see sort of how these buttons I'm pressing correspond to the options you've got here. Ease of use, I'm going to be using this radio tab here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select radio 2, which is who I'm going to have listening for messages, and I'm going to enable reception. You can see that returned OK. I'm going to go back, select radio 1, and simply write this data that I've got set up. So it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F. And as soon as I write that, I can see in my events log that indeed on radio 2 I received this message, which has all of my data with the inclusion of this little 0F, which is how many bytes are in the message. You can see I actually changed the end to BEEF. We can change that to EEFF, send it again, see how that updated. Yeah, EEFF, perfect. You've got other options like RSSI threshold, that's basically how sensitive it is. So if let's select radio 2 again, if I set this to something really, really low, let's say -80, there we go. And we can disable and enable reception again. We might start getting some noise in the event log. Maybe we've got to go a little bit lower, or it might be a little bit immune because of my settings where I'm expecting sync words right now. Let's see if we can get it to do it. Well, it doesn't want to right now, but be aware of that. If you are getting a bunch of printouts here, it's possible that your RSSI threshold is too low and you're just getting a lot of noise. And then you've also got a sample window. This is in milliseconds. Oh, there's some noise that we got through. So somehow the sync word was detected and we got this noisy printout. But that shouldn't happen if we threshold for stronger signals. Anyway, this is the sample window. How often are we sampling to see what we've received on the radios? There is a bit of a buffer, the hardware buffer on the CC1101, but that of course is limited. So if you're sending data really fast, you can make this as low as 1 millisecond at the cost of course, filling your event log and putting more stress on the processor. So yeah, that's just a simple, easy way to send data over the radios. Another cool thing that you can do with the radios, it's what I haven't talked about in this panel here, bracelet. We've got all these buttons. What are those? Those are subfiles. So if we go into the radio submenu here, you see you've got an option to transmit subfiles. Now your subfiles, that's something that you can download to the FREE-WILi. It has data on it and pre-configured settings for sending a message or doing something. We've got examples of subfiles that are for changing the colors on radio bracelets. As you can see here, this is our GitHub where we hold those subfiles. I've got the blue and the pink one on my FREE-WILi right now, so I could hit pink.sub and it will automatically load the configuration to the radio that we need, send the data that is in the subfile, and then convert back to my settings. So I can send pink.sub, I can send blue.sub, I get OKs because I've got both of those. And I should still be able to, from radio 1, write data, and that data shows up just fine. Yeah. And I think I've got a little video of me using the radio on the bracelet so you can see the subfiles working, but that is what I've got for you today. I hope that helps you navigate the radios. And just to demonstrate that, we can see here I can send blue.sub and bracelet is turned blue. I can come over here and send pink.sub and you can see the subfiles are working.